Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. Don't forget to make yourself a cup of tea or hot chocolate if you want, because today we have very interesting stories, and one of them is a story about a man who decided OP's dog is dangerous and assaulted her. Please subscribe if you haven't and I hope you'll enjoy it. I am the executive assistant to the CEO of a pretty big fashion brand. Which basics mean I'm my boss's witch. And I do whatever she asks. My job has many aspects and is always open to more. It gets tiring sometime. But there are perks to my job. I get free clothes a lot. Mainly for when I go to a big event with my boss. It wouldn't look very good if I was wearing another designer. But my boss also give me any defects. Clothing that came out wrong, or is imperfect, or not up to my boss's standards. Now this for some reason make people think I stuck up. I swear I'm not. I really appreciate that my boss does this, as there was a time when I had very little and couldn't afford to buy food, no matter clothing cheap or expensive. Anyways. One day my boss mentioned that one of the wedding dress she had was a defect, the train shorter than it was supposed to be. She asked if I knew anyone who could use one. Which I did. My best friend of 5 years had gotten engaged a few months before. My boss gave it to me and I gave it to my friend. This friend has been there for me since I was 20, she took me in and helped me find my path out of a very dark situation. I love her more than anything in the world. Here's where things get messy. My friend made a post thanking me and my boss, and my family saw it, and it started a stream of calls and messages from my family. I do not have a good relationship with my family. My parent kicked me out when I was 16 after I came out to them. My sister wasn't much better than my parents. We actually never got along even before was kicked out. She's a very entitled person who was very selfish. I struggled for a long time after that. I lived with my aunt until I was 18, which wasn't easy as we had little money. I ended up going to design school, getting an internship, and then a job at my current company. It wasn't until my family found out that I was making good money and working for a multi-million-dollar company did they suddenly want back in my life. Which I allowed to avoid drama. Basically. My mom and sister called the man to know why I gave the dress to my friend and not my sister. Apparently she was getting married. I didn't even know she was engaged. They berated me, yelling how family should come first. These are the same people who kicked me out at 16. They even suggest I try to take it back from my friend, as family should come first. But I told them point blank that was never going to happen. They started bashed me to extended family, who also started messaging me, insulted me. My sister even tried to call my boss to complain, which is just nuts, right? I think you would actually have less drama if you hadn't allowed them back in your life. It's never too late to tell them to back off and block them from contacting you. Some backstory. I have a pupper. The bestest pupper. She's a doberdane. Which is a Doberman Great Dane mix. I know. Super creative name. Anyway. Her name is Riggs. And my fiancé's dog's name is Murtaugh. He's a small black and brown pug. Riggs is black. Like jet black. Think super evil dog black. She's around 10 months and already weighs 84 pounds. She'll probably tack on another 100 by the time she's grown. So she's a biggin. Being so big she doesn't walk like normal doggos. Unlike normal dogs, she doesn't walk around people. She walks through them. She just uses her weight and pushes people out of the way. Now this is important for later. One of her favorite things to do is lean all her weight on someone's legs. That and sitting on Murtaugh. I know why. Okay, enough backstory. Here's our cast. Me, Commander Shepard's prettier cousin. M.I., the Mrs. N.K., whiner kid who turned out alright. E.D., angry dad. P.O., the saltiest sergeant there ever was. So me and the missus to the kids to the local doggy park. Murtaugh, looking like a burnt marshmallow, was running around freely. Riggs was on a leash because she's still a pup and people find her intimidating, so it's just easier. We're walking along to the corner of the park so the kids could do their business. When I turn around to ask the missus for a doggy bag, there's a loud scream. I immediately whip around and see Riggs, tail wagging, tongue flopping around. Picture perfect happy doggo. And about 15 feet away is what looks like a 10-year-old kid shaking like a leaf about to cry. Hey kid, you okay? Keep that monster away from me. Kid, you're okay. She's not gonna hurt you. She's a big pushover. I pet her head for emphasis and she flops to the ground and rolls over for belly rubs. See? Nothing to be scared of. She's not gonna attack me. Maybe with kisses, but that's the only thing you have to worry about. You wanna pet her? I'll hold her collar real tight. NK nods slowly and starting inching over to Riggs, whom is paying maybe 10% attention to NK. As he gets within range, Riggs starts sniffing his hand, then starts licking it. NK giggles and starts rubbing her head. Now Riggs is excited. She's found a new friend to extort itchings and scratchings from. So she starts leaning into the scratches. NK is struggling under the weight because I'm pretty sure they weigh the same. Seeing as they're having fun, I loosen my grip on Riggs' collar and am holding the leash. Riggs takes full advantage of that and leans full on into NK, and they both go down giggling. I'm happy I helped a kid get over a fear of big dogs. Because most big dogs are super chill good boys and girls. Suddenly the happiness ends with an ear-shaking hey. I turn around and see this mid-30s 5'10" guy stomping his way over towards us. Stopping a few inches from my face. Well neck. I'm much taller than him. The missus gets behind me, which already has me on edge. I don't like her being afraid. Did you just let your dog attack my kid? No, they were just paw. He interrupts me. You should have this beast put down. Letting it attack kids like that. Do you think I'd just stand here and let my dog maul a kid? Dad, I'm fine. We were just playing. Yeah. Your kid was scared of my dog, so I encouraged him to face his fear, and now he's got a new friend. Now dear readers. To a normal person that sounds very reasonable. But ED only picked up one thing. And he yelled it. You made my son get face to face with this vicious dog. Meanwhile the vicious dog was whining about not being petted for a whole minute. The missus tugged on the back of my sleeve. Honey, let's just go. She hated confrontation and wanted out of this. I nodded at her, letting her know I was gonna wrap this up. She nodded and went to collect Murtaugh. Listen buddy. Your kid's fine. Nothing happened and we're leaving. You're not worth it. While we were talking, Riggs was inching towards EK looking for some pets since she's just so horribly neglected. ED sees this and kicks Riggs right in the ribs hard enough to lift her front paws off the ground. She yelps loudly and falls down whimpering. Now I'm not a people person. The missus is helping that. I've been doing martial arts for years. It's really mellows me out. Great stress relief. So I'm usually just a big teddy bear of a man. But nobody hurts my dog. Game the hell on. I shove ED hard away from the missus and Riggs. Then check on her. She's shaking and crying, but she'll be okay after a vet check. I tell the missus to call the cops, then I go full mama bear and go to confront ED. Would you kick my dog, you psycho? It was trying to bite my kid, so I'm putting it down. You're not putting down anything, and the cops are coming for you now. ED sees the missus on the phone and goes to take it from her. I step in front of him and he takes a swing at me. I push it out of the way and get him in a headlock. I choke him out, then drop him face down into the grass. The cops weren't too far away because they got there within about 10 minutes. In that time ED had woken up, tried to hit me again, and ended up pinned down while I waited for the cops. The cop who arrived was the sergeant. This guy had a cigarette in his mouth and looked like he ran out of screws to give decades ago. He walks up and I let Ed go and step back. What the hell is happening here? ED started shouting. This guy had his beast attack my son, so I stopped it. PO looks back at me, who's checking on Riggs. Is that what happened? I do my best to calmly give my side of the story, and PO is just staring us both down. He looks so done with this whole mess. He asks NK what happened. We were playing, then fell, and my dad starting yelling. Then he kicked the doggy really hard. The PO grunted a thank you and stood up. Okay, you're both going to come with me for questioning. ED went white as a ghost and started trying to talk his way out of it. The PO wasn't having it. No problem, but can I load the dog into the car? She's too heavy for the missus. He nods and lets me, then we go to the station. We're there for maybe 15 minutes before I'm let go. We press charges and he gets arrested for battery and animal abuse. I felt bad for NK, but the missus let him play with Murtaugh while she waited for me. His mom picked him up and she was super nice. Apologizing profusely for her husband in a way that seems like she's not doing it for a first time. We took Riggs to the vet. She's okay. Ed's kick had cracked a pair of her ribs. She's got some medicine and is currently being spoiled rotten and loving it. Now it's in the lawyer's hands. I'll update if anything wacky happens. Update. Cast. Me. Mayor McCheese, MI. The lovely Mrs. E.D. Jerk, N.M. Emotionally drained nice mom, N.K. Recently promoted nice kid. So we finally had our day in court, and what an EP-filled day it was. Just to give a full reckoning of what was to come. The judge walked in and not only recognized ED, but called him out by name in a "are you seriously here again" kind of way. We presented our sides of our stories. And by the gods, could this guy have not painted a darker picture? If half the crap he said was true, his son would be the next Batman. From me commanding Riggs to attack the boy, to the missus creepily taking pictures of him from a distance. The list went on. I actually started laughing when he said I was so happy to have my dog attack the kid. I was practically dancing. The missus gave her details all while ED just kept saying liar and the like the entire time. Which got me steamed a bit. If there's one thing the missus is, besides freaking awesome, is truthful. These ladies got truthful Tourette's. Just the worst liar. It's freaking adorable to watch her try to fib. Anyway. The entire reason for this update is while the lovely missus is giving her details about when ED kicked Riggs. ED stands up, calls her a lying witch, then throws a glass full of water at her. She ducks down behind the standy thing, and my lawyer practically had to tackle me to prevent me from tearing this guy in half. The bailiffs push ED into the floor and cuff him before dragging him out. NM starts quietly crying to herself while holding NK. Which is what calmed me down. Totally broke my heart. It's clear that she wanted to leave the idiot. I go check on the missus. She's okay, but has a few bits of glass in her hair, which I careful pull out. Kinda like chimps do on the Discovery Channel. The judge ordered ED to pay for everything. Vet fees and lawyers, which honesty was costing us, now him, a pretty penny. ED was put in contempt, and after we pressed charges. Again. Our lawyer told that he's probably going to go away for a while. Which sadly enough seriously perked up NM. Which again is heartbreaking. You shouldn't feel like a weight is lifted from your soul when your spouse goes to prison. So yeah. Happy ending, I guess. Little blue balled that I never got to properly educate ED on how to be an adult, but whatever. I'm the one with the cute doggos and awesome missus. I can't stand it when people abuse innocent animals. Hopefully while he's locked up, New Mexico files for divorce, full custody, and a restraining order. This piece of crap deserves everything what happens to him. Past, me, myself. CB, cute boy. A B, awesome brother. EM, entitled mother, insert thunder sounds. SD, stepdad. M, mom. So, I have a pet cat named Squish. Guys, I cannot even begin to tell you how much I adore this freaking cat. My brother and I found him abandoned in a cardboard box when he was a newborn. He hadn't even opened his little eyes yet. We took him home and quite literally begged on our knees until our mom said we could keep him. Ever since, Squish has been a part of our family. Now, something I need you guys to understand is that this cat is very attached to our family. He will run to the door to greet us if he hears our voices. He will paw at any of us to pick him up and cuddle him. He will even pick up cat treats and take them to me or my brother to try and share them with us. Point is, my family loves Squish and Squish loves us back. Remember this, it becomes important later. Enter our entitled mother, EM. She and her son, CB, had come over to our house for an afternoon to visit and stay for dinner. At first, this visit was going perfect. EM wasn't being a total jerk, CB was having a great time, seemed like a smooth evening, right? Yeah, not with EM. Me, my brother, CB and EM were all in the living room, playing with Squish when EM started talking. CB loves Squish so much. What's not to love? He's such a bean. Yeah, so, I've been meaning to get CB a cat. That's cool. I'm sure he would love to have a little pet. Yeah, he would, but most pet stores are so expensive. Well, I would go to an animal shelter if I were you. There are plenty of pets there that need some love, and I think it might be cheaper than a pet store. OP, I don't think you get it. I don't want to pay for a cat. Well, you know you can't have Squish, right? And why can't I? First, because he's not your cat. Second, because he already has a forever home. Third, he is very attached to us, and I don't think it would be right to take him from his family. CB deserves a nice cat, he's a good boy. Then go to a shelter, like OP said, there are tons of cats there that need a home. Those cats are boring. I want your cat. No. But I'm not having this discussion with you, EM, the answer is no. Drop it. By some miracle, that actually worked for a bit. The night continued as planned. After dinner, CB was getting a bit restless, so we decided to take him outside and play. EM claimed she had an important phone call to make, so she would stay inside. I was suspicious, but I didn't push it. Me, AB and CB played around in the backyard for about 20 minutes, while M and SD sat on the porch. I got pretty thirsty from chasing an energetic toddler around, so I went inside to get some water from the fridge. I went into the kitchen, and never in my wildest dreams could I have imagined what I saw. There was EM in front of the counter, with a, now empty, bottle of my epilepsy medication. She was using a spoon to crush up my pills, and she had an unopened can of wet cat food standing by. Needless to say, it didn't take long for me to put two and two together. Something I need you guys to know about me is that I don't get angry that often. I get upset, annoyed, frustrated, etc., but it is rare for me to get truly furious at someone. Seeing her there, in my home, trying to poison my squish just clicked something in my brain. I felt my chest get hot and tight, and the corners of my vision were turning red as I stomped up to confront her. What the hell are you doing? OP, it's not what it low. Oh, I think it is what it looks like. So, I'm going to let you try again. What the hell are you doing? Well, you wouldn't let me have him. So you try to freaking poison him. It's not like I didn't give you an option. I asked you to give him to me, and you said no. Take this as a lesson, never refuse a request by someone who is older than you. She then continued to crush up the pills. Now, I am not a strong or big person by any means. I am 4'4" and EM is 5'7", that size difference has always been a big reason as to why I try not to get physical with her. But, I was just so mad and worried that she was actually going to poison my cat that I just acted. I grabbed her wrist and said, very firm, stop. She then proceeds to stop, then turns around, grabs me by my hair, and pulls as hard as she possibly could. I started to scream at the top of my lungs, and that was enough to get my mom and stepdad to come in and see what's going on. EM lets go of my hair, and my mother proceeds to tear into EM. How dare you grab my child like that? She grabbed my wrist. I don't give a crap what she did, you have no right to touch my child like that. I'll get you arrested for assault. Sweetheart, I'm going to be arrested for your murder if you don't get the hell out of my house. I guess that was enough to scare EM because she quickly grabbed CB and drove off our property as fast as she could. I filled my mom in on what happened after she left, and my mother got a scary look in her eyes. She grabbed my stepdad by the collar of his shirt, dragged them to their bedroom, and stayed there for about 3 hours. When they emerged, SD said that EM was no longer allowed to come to our house. Happy to say that Squish still lives with us and is as happy and healthy as he can be. The best part of this whole story is that, ever since this happened, my mother makes a point to tag EM in random pictures of our cat from time to time. Jesus Christ. Like I understand if people are jealous of other people's pets, but well hell, just no. Don't try to freaking poison the poor thing. Well guys, that's it for today. If you end up enjoying this video, please consider subscribing, and if you missed the last episode on the channel, I'm gonna link it right here. The story is about a man who became crazy because OP didn't have ketchup. Check this out if you haven't, and I'll see you in my next video.